big mistake on GLP-1 weight loss on day 6 versus day 1. Hi, beautiful friends. I'm Elizabeth, Countess of Shopping. I've lost over 108 pounds on GLP-1 weight loss the last 2.5 years. This video is not, it's royal living meeting real life, and it's not theory. It's actually my life of what's worked really well for me. And I wanted to share with you, literally after 2.5 years of being on GLP-1 medication, I made a mistake this week. Day 6 of my injection, I started to get really like 2:45, 3 o'clock. I started to root and toot. Anyone else relate to that? Where you start like rooting, like, I'm hungry. What's in the pantry? And I'm like, what am I doing? Like, that's not the lifestyle I live. Rooty tooty, fresh and fruity, rooting all around for extra food. And friends, I need to be in a calorie deficit, honey. We got goals to meet. We are things we are doing to hit our health goals. And I'm like, what am I doing? I am full. I've hit my being in a calorie deficit. I've hit where I should be for the day at that time. Like, there's a certain metrics in which I hit that I've reviewed with my dietitian, because I seek wise counsel, and my protein was on point. So my food was on point, and I'm like, why am I so daggone hungry? And I pause for a moment. Like, this is where I want to encourage you. From my mistake, take the lesson, not the scar. My mistake was just pausing for a second. And I was like, what am I doing? And I stopped rootin' tootin' around, you know what I'm talking about, where you like root around to like find some, oh, is there something yummy in my pantry? There was not. Like, I had cleared out any of the yummy yums from like vacation and stuff from the summer. And what I wanted to share of why this was a mistake is it's day 6. Half-life dose for Zepbound and Mounjaro is day 5. And the half-life dose for Ozempic and Wegovy is actually day 7. So feeling this way on day 5 for Zepbound, Mounjaro, Tirzepatide compound, and day 7 for Ozempic, semaglutide, and Wegovy, so for our GLP-1s, that is when appetite's going to change. Like, that is going to change. And I did another video recently. You can click the playlist and go see that video, of where I was talking about how about getting hungry and things like that. And someone wrote a really poignant comment about knowing the difference with GLP-1 weight loss between being hungry and appetite suppression, and like getting super clear on our body signals on that. And the mistake, so the point, let me loop back around the mountain to the point that I'm trying to make. The mistake that I made on day 6 versus day 1, day 2, and for me, I feel peak appetite suppression is 24 to 48 hours. The data tells us it's 24 to 72 hours for Zepbound. For me, it's like that 24 to 48 hours is like a sweet spot where I will consume less calories in that part than I do any other time during the week. I'll consume more calories for me on day 6, day 7, day 5, day 6, day 7. Now, I'm on the highest dose, right? Like, you may, and I have been on this highest dose for well over 1.5 years. If you're just starting your journey, like this is where everybody's journeys are different. There is, for obesity management and for type 2 diabetes, a very wide hoop for treatment with that. And so the results are going to be different. So you may not experience this, but like I said, take the lesson, not the scar with this. The lesson was at day 6, I was thinking that there was something wrong with me. I'm like, did I consume some random sugar somewhere, like to trigger all this like hunger and things like that? No, like, that is simply on day 6, and it's still literally, how many weeks is that? Over 120 plus weeks of being on this medication, something like that, off the top of my head, of being on it for so long that week in, week out, that I still have to remind myself on day 6, and that was the mistake of that I'm going to be hungry at that part. And then come day 24 to 48 hours after my shot, I'm going to have way less appetite. There's going to be appetite suppression. My hunger signals, I'm not going to feel as hungry. And so I really wanted to encourage you with that. With the mistake that I was making is the old mindset of something was wrong with me, and there's not. I'm crushing it. Like, I'm so proud. Like, I love our encouragement, my encouragement group so much. It is not on Facebook anymore. It's on countessofshopping.com/group. I love our group so much because I feel like it's a level of where I am up-leveling my activity, my eating, my recipes, my encouragement, like all of it, all of the help. Recognizing that even 2.5 years into this, that I made the mistake of, oh yeah, like, it's okay to be hungry. Like, this is part of my obesity management with this, of it is okay to be hungry. I am not going to feel appetite suppression all the time. That's not realistic. That's not healthy. One of the biggest things that people are seeing with GLP-1 weight loss is being so nutrient deficient and what that's causing. There was a new study that came out that I'm going to do a separate video talking about posture. I've noticed for me, like I'm slumping more, and I'm really trying to work on having like a stronger posture. I noticed it actually was when I was on in QVC HSN studios. I'm like, why am I slumped over like the Hunchback of Notre Dame? That's because people's muscles back there's two muscles in the back that they're finding that people are losing so much muscle mass. It's making their posture really bad with their backs. And I'm like, I think like literally, which is so anyways, all of that to say, being so nutrient deficient, being full all the time is not the goal for me, and this is where the mistake is, but also the beautiful blessing that I want to encourage you with is learning my body's signals and cues of what's hunger, what's full, and then what to do with it, right? What I did with that and what I choose to focus in on with dietitian helping me. And again, this is not medical advice. This is simply my experience, strength, and hope. You do you. But one of the best things for me was focusing on high protein and high fiber through fruits and vegetables. I'm like, I'm just going to go get a low protein thing. I literally just got from Costco the most delicious pork tenderloin. Like for 4 ounces is something like 135 calories and 20 grams of protein. Don't quote me on that, but approximately, with a little bit of spinach, a little bit of honey poppy seed dressing on there. Bada bing, bada boom. It's like 200 calories and like 40 grams of protein or something crazy. Like, I just exaggerated that. It wasn't quite like that, but you get the point in which I'm trying to make. I gave myself a little something before dinner time. And recognizing I had some water with that, I had my element electrolytes, and then I had one of my Gem Bites, my daily vitamins. I hadn't had that yet either. And having all of that, I was like, no wonder it's day 6. I'm going to feel hungrier than when I do on day like 1 going into day 2 and day 3. It is very different for me. It is very, very different, like not black and white, but gray, shades of gray with it. And so if you're having shades of, one of the other things with this too is that I've really recognized, particularly in the last week or so, which I've known, and I think I've talked about this before, but my son's watching me. My son is watching my habits. My son is watching me on GLP-1 medication. My son is aware. He's smarter than the average bear. He is aware. He's super, super aware. And so me with these behaviors, it's one of the things I've started talking about with him. And as a mom, I would never want him to walk through what I've walked through with my eating. Like, I would not wish that even on my worst enemy. I would not, and like, I would not. It's the HE double hockey sticks. Like, I would never wish my obesity management and obesity on anybody, because literally it was a very, very dark place for a while there. And so now having this amazing, incredible success, sharing with my son about, okay, let's feel our bodies. Let's check in with our bodies. What does hungry feel like? How would I talk to him? What does hungry feel like? What does full feel like? How do I know that? What is my body giving me signals and cues? What is that specifically? And walking through that, like, what a gift. Literally just had that chat with my son before I had to come out to the car because it's so daggone loud. And summertime, any other parents out there, I'm like, when is school starting? Back to school. It's loud. It's like Lord of the Flies, barely any underpants on, no shirt, like no shirt, no shoes, no service. But it's all of those things in my household. I'm like, I'm going to go to the car and talk to my besties. So bestie, I want to encourage you with my mistake, but it's not a mistake. Of then how, once I do have these feelings of hunger and I'm in a calorie deficit and I am still hungry, what do I do with that? And I've been there too. Recently, I've gotten in with working with this dietitian of where, and I'll link it down below if you're interested. It will be in the description. They gave me a discount code. It's not like my standard code that I usually get, but I really like this company. The dietitian really wanted me to hone in on a couple of things. And one of the things that have worked really well for me that has changed my hunger is with my coffee, because I'm perimenopausal, is having protein with my coffee in the morning. And just a little bit. Like, she's like, even just have a cup of yogurt. And if you can't eat the whole thing of yogurt, have half of a cup of yogurt. That has been, and I've been having Fage Greek yogurt and a little bit of chia seeds, and usually I eat half. It is maybe like 100 calories. I don't know. 100 calories, 10 grams of protein. And then I do. And then I don't eat till lunch, basically. I feel differently with this new hunger appetite suppression. It has been helping my calories, because she was worried my cortisol, like I'm just spiking my cortisol way too much, particularly for me. And she went back to the studies with intermittent fasting, and I shared this on another video, but I found it fascinating that the intermittent fasting, if you follow Dr. Fung, the daddy of intermittent fasting, that those studies were done on men. And so for women, it's going to be different in terms of fasting with that. And so have found that very helpful for my appetite suppression arc, to stay fuller longer and to stay full. And again, the goal, and this is where I'm really working on the mindset, the goal is not to not be hungry, because I'm going to be hungry. I'm a human being. But handling that is very different for me when I focus in on high protein and high nutrient dense foods like fruits and vegetables. And where I've gotten really good this summer, and I'm so proud of myself, and I want to give you a high five, because I know so many of you in the free encouragement group on countessofshopping.com/group and here on YouTube are finding fruits and vegetables and proteins you love, like falling in love. A comment, and they were talking about how they're on Zepbound 10 milligrams, which if you're on Wegovy and Ozempic or semaglutide, to give context, the highest dose is Zepbound 15 milligrams. So it's like 3 down from that. There's 10 milligrams, 12.5 milligrams, and then 15 milligrams for Mounjaro and Zepbound for Tirzepatide, to give context. And so they were saying, they're like, I feel nothing on this dose change. I've had that. I have very much had that, where I'm like, testing, 1, 2, does this thing work? Why do I not, did I get a defective pen? Like, why do I not feel anything? What's that video on TikTok where it's like, I just want to feel something? Like, I've had that too, of where some weeks I'm like, is there anything at all in my GLP-1? I'm feeling so hungry. And so for me, then usually when that happens is usually it's near my cycle. It's near my cycle. But since that's been changing, that's been a whole horse of a different color too, of dealing with like perimenopause with GLP-1 medication. So the bottom line is, on different doses, I've also experienced different hunger. And I think that that's not that it's not working, it's our bodies get acclimated. But particularly this person had just titrated it up, and they're like, why is this feeling? And I'm like, are you hormonal, girl? Are you near your period? Is that why? But I have had that where I was like, I'm not near my period and I just don't feel full. And for me, that is what I called the refining period. And so it was a mistake, but take the lesson, not the scar, of embrace your refinement period. If you are in that and the dose does not feel like it's working as well, or you're not losing as weight as quickly as you want, what a blessing. What a gift that is, to be able to have this refinement period of where you can work on your food choices, your protein goals, your fiber goals, finding foods you enjoy, and being very curious and testing and trying different foods for you, different recipes on Pinterest. I'm on Pinterest. They have a ton of great GLP-1 recipes. You can go to countessofshopping.com. There's a ton in my free group. In the group, literally on the left side of the group, go to the app. The app is on our website, by the way. People are like, where do you get to the app? The app is on countessofshopping.com/group. So do that first, and then it will lead you to my specific app on there. So don't get, some people are going to the app, and I'm like, don't go to the Circles app. You are not going to find me. And they're like, it's confusing. Go to my website, and then you can download the app for my group. On there, on the left side, it's GLP-1 recipes. There's a ton of recipes in there. Oh my gosh. Lori Ellen posts a ton of them in there. Thanks, Lori Ellen. Danielle did too. And I'm forgetting a bunch of other group members have as well, and I love them so much. There's so many new recipes you can try to try new foods. Embracing that curiosity, because for me, the refinement period, and I don't want to say this for everybody because obesity is a wide hoop to jump through, but for me, I wish someone had said, the refinement period's coming, babe. I don't want to say you need to be entering your refinement period, because I don't think that that's fair or true either. Because for some people, it's not. But for a lot of people, there is a refinement period of where I got to get my foods right and tight. I got to get my proteins right and tight. And that there's a certain part of where this medication is doing its job and where I've got to do my job and what's my responsibility in that too. And for me, hitting those protein goals, I don't, because I know someone's going to ask, I don't hit my protein goals, by the way, on day 2 and day 3 typically, like my calorie goals, my protein goals, and things like that. That comes later. What's that in the one with Bane and Batman where they're like, that part comes later? that part comes later for me. Accountant Jamie here on YouTube gave the best, and I always quote her on this because it was the most brilliant idea. She's like, babes, why don't you she didn't say babes, but I'm saying she said babes. Jamie, I'm pretending you said babes. Why don't you track each day, but count it for the whole week for your protein and calories and like macros. And I'm like, what a flippin' brilliant idea. And that takes the pressure off on day 2 and day 3 from not hitting those food goals, right? But then on day 6 and day 7, where I'm like 5 days, 6 days, 7, where I'm eating more, then it's balancing each other out. Then I'm like even Steven. Like I'm hitting all my stuff. I'm like an archerist, hitting that target. Boom, boom, boom. Like that's so I'm saying that too if you're having a hard time with it as well. That was very much a mindset for me of hitting that. Where I was not hitting it, when I am under on my protein, it is substantially harder. And so for me, by like 2 or 3, which it is right about now, I have a certain goal. Like I want to be like have at least 50 grams of protein for the day at this point. Like, and I don't know if that's helpful for you or not, but for me it is of like, okay, where am I with my protein for the day? Where am I with my calories for the day? I use MyFitnessPal. It's free. And then that way I can just track it and I'm not paying for anything. That has been super, super helpful for me. On days that I work out on countessofshopping.com, my website, I have a free calorie calculator. On there, you can manipulate to change if you're working out, if you're hardcore working out. You can change the drop down if you're not doing anything and super sedentary to see the calorie range that makes the best sense for your lifestyle. For me, that has been one of the best, smartest things for me to know the range for when I am not hitting my protein or calorie goals for the day. And when I get really, really hungry, again, I think that this is where the super important part of my refinement period of getting clear on it's okay to be hungry and to embrace and feel that, have a sip of water. I love peak tea. I love decaf coffee. I love my element drinks. Like there's a ton of stuff I love, like a ton of, like I'm a beverage girly. I'll have a little sip on something and then usually I distract myself with going into work and things like that. For some of you, you are too full. You're too full at that point. And that's where I'm saying you can, I would not force feed myself, but you do you. Some people absolutely do need to do that because they're so nutrient deprived. And like I said, going back to that Hunchback of Notre Dame component of like, there's so much that can happen with like hair loss and things like that from being nutrient deprived. It is, I think, important to a track number grows and to monitor that as well. If you're too nutrient deficient, that is a problem. And if you're not hitting your protein too, that's going to lead to a lot of loose skin and saggy skin. Again, I'm not a healthcare provider and I don't pretend to play one on the internet, but being mindful of that, I think is super, super important of where are we with our eating. And that has changed so much. I erroneously thought, and this is another mistake from day 6 to like day 1, I erroneously thought that it was going to be the same week in, week out for the rest of my life on GLP-1. No, babes, that's not been the case for me. I'm on Zepbound 15 milligrams, highest dose that there is for brand name for all GLP-1s until retatrutide comes out. Retatrutide is not out yet from Eli Lilly, the manufacturer. It's still in clinical trials being tested. So if you see other ones, those are peptide companies. I've done a whole, I'm not even going to go into that rabbit hole today. I will go on CagriSema or retatrutide when they come out. They're higher results than Zepbound. There is an acclimation process that I was not expecting, and that was one of the mistakes that I thought I'm always going to feel this way. This medication is going to feel the same today as it does 2 years from now, 5 years from now, or whatever. No, more than 2.5 years in, I very much feel at times like my Zepbound 15 milligrams is not working. It is. It's just different. It's complete. It's just a very. It's not that it's not working because it is. My body has become acclimated to it, and I need a higher dose. I said that in another video, and that freaked some of y'all out. It's because I'm not at my goal weight. If I was at maintenance, I would drop down. And so we've been having discussions about this also in my free encouragement group, and here on YouTube about at maintenance. Then you have 1 or 2 choices. You can drop down on medication and take it once a week, or you can take the same dose and then take it every 10 days. I like I just want to get to my goal weight, which, by the way, another mistake that I made, and please feel free to educate me. Like this is where I'm like I'm welcoming suggestions and comments. I reached out to a plastic surgeon. It was actually PCOS Sam plastic surgeon. They have that's in Northern Virginia, which is near. I live in rural Virginia. I can easily get there. It's at a really nice hospital in which they would do the surgery. I would feel very comfortable having the surgeon do my loose skin because one of you beautiful souls messaged me and said loose skin surgery removal, which I think would be for me 5 to 10 pounds of loose skin. I don't know if that's right, like maybe 5 to 7 pounds of loose skin, which would put me basically at goal weight once I have my loose skin surgery. So with that, it was you it was a year long. It was a year and a half till I could have the surgery. This doctor is so backed up, and if you follow PCOS Sam, I could see why. She's got a mat, like I could see why, because her surgeries, he's done a really good job. There's different surgeon levels. I've also learned, and this is my other mistake too, of there's ladies who lunch people who are like super rich and just want like tummy tucks and things like that to stay like nip tucked and cute. And then there's people who are weight loss people who it's a different kind of surgery, right? Like dealing with a morbidly obese person or obese person who's lost a bunch of weight with loose skin, that is different than somebody who's like, oh, I just want to like tweak, nip, and tuck. And finding a different surgeon, there's typically surgeons are different for those. Their techniques are different, which was so helpful for me. So if anybody's looking for loose skin one of you beautiful souls also messaged me. There's a really good surgeon in Florida. I'm willing to travel. So if you know of anyone, I live in rural Virginia. I'm willing to travel if there's a good loose skin surgery removal, but I don't want to wait a year and a half. My husband was like, woohoo! Because our insurance won't cover it. It would be like me paying for it. Us, not me, like my husband and I. My hot husband and I. So the mistake that I like, by the way, also for the PCOS surgeon, you can do it online, the consultation. I wanted to go to his office in Northern Virginia because you send nudie pics. It's not nudie pics. It's for medical purposes. But I'm like, I don't take nude selfies, nor would I ever want, like, I don't want that on my phone. Like, you do you. If that's your thing, baby, you do you. But who am I to judge? Anyways, I like for the consult. It made me so awkward, which I was like literally for the last 3 months of why I haven't contacted this surgeon 3 months ago. I'm like, I'm not taking naked pictures of myself. Like, anyone else? Is it just like my armpits are sweating even just having this conversation? So I wanted to tell you also, those are some of my mistakes with my plastic surgery journey to get my loose skin removed. Because my stomach, many of you guys ask, and if you're like, well, I want to see you standing up, great. Go watch my YouTube shorts, or a ton of them of me, and my other videos too of like my before and afters. My stomach is like bread dough, and so are my thighs. It's like, and there's a new revelation that's happened is like on my rib cage, it's now like droops over my pants. I'm like, what in the Satan's butt crack is this? Like, no one told me my deliciously, I thought, taunt stomach. It's like super tight when I put it in my compression leggings. But then it's like droopy whoopy over my belly button. I'm like, it looks sad. I just want a little slurping over that to the task at hand. Y'all didn't come here for plastic surgery information, or maybe you did. Day 6, day 5, day 6, day 7. Corralling that in feels for me very different than day 1, day 2, and day 3. That has taken me 2.5 years now to get so good at this, of where I know how my body is reacting, how my body feels. And I don't know if anybody who's else with obesity or morbid obesity can relate, but knowing what my body feels like is a huge victory. Like, that is a huge non-scale victory. High five. I used to stuff food so far down to not feel something. And I'd still actually would feel really hungry after that. So now to be like, I am full, I am hungry, and handling that where I'm not overeating with it either. Because that along my Zepbound journey as well, of where thank goodness this week I was like, I'm going to pause and sit here for a minute. Why do I feel that way? Oh, I feel that way because it's day 6. Let me just have a little bit more fruit, a little bit more lean protein, and that's great. My body is needing that. My body is requiring that. And I've also had this mistake too of when I started to work out with more physical activity, I needed more calories and more protein. So if you have recently started to work out, walk more, lift, whatever you're doing, tap dance, Pilates, y'all, I went back to Pilates for the first time and it was awesome. I loved it so much. If you're working out more, of course you're going to need more. You're going to be like, your body's going to signal to you, I need some more calories and I need some more protein, and that's okay. The other thing I want to mention too that I've been looking into about bodybuilders, about how they do have like a cut time frame of where they're like super eating like super lean, and then they have like gains, and then they have just like normal time frame. And so that has been very helpful for me too, of having these pockets of where I'm gonna be hungrier and eat more. And but I feel like, to give context for people too, I just came back from vacation, and so I did. I did eat more. I did eat more than my calories, and that's also totally okay. I really wanted to enjoy my vacation and things like that. We ate well, but I definitely, like, there's duck donuts down in the Outer Banks, like, indulged in the duck donut. And I titrated up doses. So for GLP-1, for our Ozempic babes, Wegovy, and also our Manjaro Zepbound friends, definitely when I titrated up, the first 2 weeks for me always were wacky. Very wacky. And so I want to encourage you, if you're titrating up dose or changing your dose, it very well may be. That's not for everybody. Again, I don't like to make like superlative statements that everyone always has these, because they don't, and that's not true. Again, there is a wide hoop to jump through with obesity. But definitely for me, most of the time, except for that one time, remember how I said, I want to feel something? Most of the time I did. But there was one dose, and I wish I could remember what dose it was. I didn't feel it. And I was like, I was so disappointed. So managing those expectations of what I thought it was going to be, what I was expecting versus the reality of it. And that's where I go back to that refinement period is a gift. And if you're in your refinement period, reframing it of, gosh, what a positive gift that I get the opportunity to do that. A lot of people don't get that gift. They're just in the white knuckling component, and it never gets absolved or alleviated. And for me, I very much do feel like it's ebbed and flowed, of where I've had the blessing and the opportunity with this medication to work on this. And that's a gift. So my beautiful friends, my husband's in there with my son. My son's not like by himself or whatever, but I do want to go back in. Because I made the most delicious lunch with my Costco tenderloin, pork tenderloin, and spinach, and I have some fresh tomatoes I want to chop up. I want to make some overnight protein oats. I want to get that going, and I'm going to make some freezer protein breakfast burritos. Yes! So make sure you click that like and subscribe and stay tuned. We'll be doing that together. But I want to encourage you, what are you doing today to move you closer to your goals? And I also want to know, what's your non-scale victory? Like, what is it today that you're working towards that is not scale related? For me, the non-scale victory of really healing my not relationship, because that's not true, my perspective with food and my disordered perspective with food, really, that is a big hornet that just came by. That hornet was like, yes, ladies and gentlemen, let's work on our non-scale victories. So tell me what your non-scale victory is down below too. I love seeing them. It makes me so happy when people share their non-scale victories. I have a whole episode on y'all's non-scale victories. It is awesome if you need encouragement. And our emoji of the day is going to be a car, because I'm sitting in mine. Beep, beep. And I do emojis of the day to get to know you better, because I care. It's like our bat signal for me to pray over you. If you don't believe in prayer, uplift you in positive thought, as all are welcome at the Countess of Shopping table, unless you're rude, and then you can Rudy toot toot all the way out. You can see yourself to, what is it? See you later? No, that's not the joke. What's the joke? ABC your way out of this conversation? No, I'm butchering it. Gosh, y'all, I need to work on it. Stay tuned for next episode. I'll make sure I get that. I totally just was, that's cringe. So my niece and nephew would say, that's cringe, Aunt Elizabeth. So our emoji of the day is a car, and I do that to get to know you better because I care. Truly, like, y'all are my besties. If you've made it this far, bestie, I love you so super much. I'm cheering you on. And if you've not checked in today in the group, what are you waiting for? Like, it's free. Hello, I pay. This is where people are like, oh my gosh, da, da, da. Like, I pay, the count, I pay $1,000 a year for that free group. So take advantage, and it will be $5,000 when it's all said and done. Take advantage of the free group. Take advantage of the freeness. Take advantage of the encouragement. We need more love, light, kindness in this world. So take advantage of it because that group is love, light, kindness. And I love the app, but the app is on countessofshopping.com/group. Just make sure you're in my group. Some people went and I was like, what are you doing? Like, don't do that. Go through my website to get the app. It's free. And I find that the app is better for our group. I find the app is it's so awesome. It's a better experience than the website. And someone had said, I have an Android, and so it was slow, and I think they've worked past that. The app has like fixed that or whatever. So, FYI, my sweet friends, be kind to yourself, be kind to others. I'm Countess of Shopping. Count my blessings because life is delicious. I'm sitting here blaring. It's 100 degrees. Is that not showing it? 100 degrees outside. It's 100 degrees outside. I'm not going outside. And in the morning, this morning, I was going to go to film it. I have to get up really early, and it was 80 degrees at that point. And I was like, I'm not getting all sweaty Betty on camera and huffing and puffing because I'm like the three little pigs. She huffed and she puffed and she blew the house down. Y'all, I literally blow the house down. So the Walking in the Park series will resume with the Countess when it's not 90 some degrees at 7 a.m. Okay, I love you guys. Make sure, by the way, that you click like on this video if you have not. It will signal to the algorithm to show you more of my. I forgot to say, be kind to yourself, be kind to others. I'm Countess of Shopping. Count my blessings because life is delicious. Okay, love you. Bye.